Throughout the offseason, a lot was made of the three quarterbacks that we knew were going to be taken in the first round, likely all in the first four picks, as they were. And Bryce Young was the first of them, right? And what I want to do is week by week, we're going to compare these guys and what they've done up to this point. Okay. Everybody said that Bryce Young was going to be the most ready right away. He was tailor made for the NFL. He's not going to have any problems transitioning over. And look, the Panthers spent a lot of money getting guys around the quarterback this offseason. So they put in the effort and they're just not putting it together. They also have Frank Reich calling plays and running his offense. We know how that went for the Colts the last couple seasons. But so far through two games, Bryce Young has 299 yards combined, not each game. This is combined 299 yards, two touchdowns, and two interceptions. Now, the game against the Saints on Monday Night Football, he didn't throw any interceptions. Both of his interceptions were to Jesse Bates in week one against Atlanta. And he has a touchdown pass in each game, but they've lost each of these games. And the offense, like if you're watching the Panthers play football, it looks, I mean, again, Frank Reich calling plays, it looks eerily similar to what we've watched Colts football look like these last couple years. So they're a tough watch right now. We're going to have to see if it gets better for this offense. Is, a lot of new pieces, a new offense, new coaches. We'll see if they can figure it out and start putting it together. But up to this point, you could certainly argue that the guy that everybody said was going to be the most ready has looked the most uncomfortable in his position and where he is, right? You look at CJ Stroud and you look at Anthony Richardson. They both look much more comfortable early on in their careers. CJ Stroud combined in the two games has 58 completions, has 626 yards with a 63.7 completion percentage. All right, he has two touchdowns, no interceptions. Both those touchdowns were against the Colts. And just for reference, in that Colts game, he threw 47 passes. He threw 44 in the first game. So probably going to see a lot of that. The Texans are going to be down a lot, going to be coming back. CJ Stroud's going to put up a lot of yards. Okay, what you need to realize is that in that first half, when the Colts won the first half 28-10, CJ Stroud had 110 yards and the one touchdown. Okay, so in that second half, if the Colts offense had just been able to stay on the field a little longer, I think they only ended up with I believe it was like 13 minutes of possession in that second half. If they had held on to the ball longer, CJ Stroud's stats wouldn't have been so crazy. But Colts defense did their thing, ended up helping win that game there in the second half. But overall, like even though the Texans are going to lose a bunch of games this year, CJ Stroud looked pretty good in that second game. Right, he's finding soft spots in the zones, and that's what a good quarterback should do. The Colts played a lot of zone defense in that game, and he was just at different times finding the open holes, and a lot of it was in the middle of the field. We saw Nico Collins get, 3 or 4 catches right in the middle of the field, like 20, 25 yards downfield. So he was finding open zones, finding his guys, and he's putting the ball in places that even some of these veteran quarterbacks can't consistently do. And the fact that he was able to do it consistently through that game yesterday was impressive. He was a guy that when Anthony Richardson started, they started to say, oh, maybe he's going to be the first overall pick. I started to say, okay, well, that kind of works out because then Bryce Young would probably end up going to the Texans, and then CJ Stroud would be the next in line to fall to the Colts at number 4. And I thought that would be fine. Like the one that I didn't want to end up with was Bryce Young. So in my estimation, the AFC South got the two best quarterbacks from this draft. And of those top two, Anthony Richardson is not two. Okay. Anthony Richardson has been balling. Okay. In 5 quarters of play for Anthony Richardson, he's 30 for 47, 279 yards. That's a 63.8% completion percentage with 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a 78.2 passer rating. And then you look at what he's been able to contribute on the ground so far in 5 quarters of play. 13 carries, 75 yards, 3 touchdowns. And if you look at what he was doing against the Texans, right, those first 2 drives, 2 touchdown drives, obviously the first one is a 1-play drive, but even still, he was 6 for 10, 56 yards overall, right? He ended up finishing that first quarter, played a couple drives after while he was concussed. but still finished 6 of 10, 56 yards, and had 3 carries, 35 yards, and the 2 touchdowns, right? And his quarterback rating was 91.4, which is extremely high for quarterback rating. The passer rating is the one that you'll see sail over 100 for guys and can go all the way up to 158.3. Quarterback rating is not the same. That goes on a scale to 100, and 91.4 is ridiculous. Okay, Anthony Richardson was about to annihilate that defense and put up a historic rookie performance. And what he's done through 5 quarters of play has the league buzzing right now, has national media buzzing. What we have in Anthony Richardson could be something very special, especially him teaming up with Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen has seemed great so far. We had a video on him. If you haven't watched that, make sure to go watch that. We're very excited about Shane Steichen. And if you're wondering what Anthony Richardson's going to need to do to get back into the lineup this upcoming weekend. Okay, he's currently in the concussion protocol. Okay, this information is coming from Kevin Bowen from 1075 The Fan. Number one, he's got to get through symptom limited activity. Okay, and this is a period when you get a concussion, you just need to rest, right? No physical activity, not much cognitive activity if possible, right? Limit your stretching, no balance training, and progress into it lightly as he goes into step 2, which is aerobic exercise. So as you see practice start this week, he could be limited, right? If he even practices Wednesday, if he does practice Wednesday, I should say, then it'll be in a limited fashion. And it'll probably just be with the medical staff on the side, just getting back into motion, right? Just clearing through the steps that he has to clear through. It's a protocol thing. They're going to have him do certain things. But then after that, football-specific exercises is step 3. This is another area he's going to continue to be monitored. But this is where things start to pick up, right? The exercises will start to pick up. You can start to get a little more intense. You're obviously not going, full intensity here. But this is starting to really do some cardiovascular work for either 30 minutes or less. And again, being carefully monitored. Okay, step 4 is the club-based non-contact training drills. And this is a step where you could see Anthony Richardson start to practice with the team. Okay, it's going to be in a non-contact fashion, but he's a quarterback. So it's non-contact for him anyway. So he would be able to practice. If they think he can, they'll have him out there. So that'll be pretty telling if he, practices with the team on Thursday and is able to practice fully. He'll be ready to go for Sunday. But then again, you get to number 5, that's full football activity and clearance. And that's where we're hoping to get to by Sunday, because a game with Lamar Jackson and Anthony Richardson would be very exciting. I think a lot of us feel pretty comfortable with Gardner Minshew as a backup and feel pretty good about this team going into this game. But it would be a lot more fun to watch if Anthony Richardson is there. And I think we do have a better chance of winning if Anthony Richardson is there. So after 2 weeks, Anthony Richardson drafted at number 4. He seems like the best quarterback so far. Pretty much everybody is in agreement on that except for Texans and Panthers fans. Then you have CJ Stroud was a number 2 pick. He's the number 2 quarterback so far. And Bryce Young, the number 1 pick so far, is the number 3 quarterback of the top 3 chosen. And again, we'll continue to monitor these guys week after week and monitor their performances and see how we're looking. At the current moment, Anthony Richardson's odds to win Offensive Rookie of the Year are at plus 225. That seems like a very good possibility, depending on Bijan Robinson and Nakua out there with the Rams, who we're going to be seeing in week 4 when the Colts play the Rams back in Indianapolis. And before we get out of here, there's about 87% of the people that return to watch content on this channel that aren't subscribed. So if you're still watching, please hit that subscribe button. It's a great way to support the channel for free. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys coming by to hang out and showing your support and being a part of your Colts fandom. It's truly an honor. So with that said, I'll be releasing at least one more video today. Again, a lot of stuff that I'd like to talk to you guys about before the game this weekend. Some film study that I'd like to get to you guys. Some really impressive stuff by this Colts team. So again, subscribe with notifications on. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.